Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank Andreas and all the organizers for the invitation to participate in this very interesting workshop. And we have seen today, well, as Andreas said, also a medical doctor, so I'm not an engineer, not a technician. But we have seen today several very nice, amazing results dealing with implantable devices. And I would like to introduce you other project that is NeuroProds we are working on, and is for the main objective of the project is to develop micro or multi-electrode arrays for cerebral applications. This is an interdisciplinary field that is growing up very fast because the population in need of such devices is also growing everywhere in the world. So this is the number of papers dealing or referring to brain-machine interfaces, brain-computer interfaces of neuroprosthesis. This search is just, I don't know if, okay. This search is in the pHealth2008, that is a search engineer related mainly with biological or medical papers, and it's a nice increase, mainly starting around not many years ago, but now it's almost exponential. But because we are talking also about converging technologies, I would like to show you some search. This is the same, but using pHealth2008 or using Explorer that is mainly related with engineer papers. So if we look for neural interfaces, there is almost 1,000 papers in biological journals, but only close to 200 in engineered journals, and you can see the same. And if you look for Google, more than 1.5 million. So Andreas said before that some people think that almost all the knowledge is available, but I don't agree, of course. And I would like to introduce you some of the technological but also biological problems dealing with this amazing field that is the neural interfaces, the possibility to interface the nervous system. So the idea is relatively simple. We know that the information in neuron cells is electrical information. The information, usually we have an stimuli, and the stimuli goes, the information goes through ions that are moving into the aqueous medium in the cytoplasm. And in the electrical circuits, the information is also an electrical information, and here we have electrons that are moving into one conductor. So one neural interface is just a way to communicate two electrical ways or to process information. And of course, we are no pioneers. This is, I would like just to show you, to remind you the work of José Manuel Rodríguez Delgado. Many years ago, for instance, in the 50s, he was implanting some electrodes in cats. You can see here, you apply some stimuli and the cats move the head, but maybe this is the more famous experiment. This is the researcher, this is José Manuel, and he's telling to the fighting bull, coming, the bull start to run, and when it's very close, he push one button, and suddenly the bull stopped, because there was one electrode in one part of the brain that is related with aggressivity and so on. You can see what the research are doing, or some of the research. I will never do something like that. But this is from one paper of 75, and he was talking about the ability to perform simultaneous recording and stimulation of brain functions. And today, there is not any device able to work in the long term for stimulation, for recording, and so on, because there is still many problems that we have to deal, that we have to solve. Although there is already some available neural interfaces, some of the interfaces are mainly for listening to the brain-computer interfaces, myoelectric prostheses, prostheses to record from sensory or from peripheral nerve, and so on. And other prostheses are just for stimulating the brain, visual neuroprosthesis, deep brain stimulation, and so on. So the main problems are damage of the peripheral nervous system, some injury to the spinal cord, disorder of sensory organs. However, the brain is usually perfectly functional in spite of all these injuries. So one possible solution is to communicate directly to the brain. And that's why we are trying to develop electrodes or to develop a system to communicate directly to the brain. And also it's not new, this is Bernal in 1929 was also talking about humans involved in colonizing space, and he was thinking on some high-wired electrical interface between human and machines. So today I think the main goals of neural interfaces are, first of all, helping people with problems, helping disabled people, but we can also use these technologies to develop more technologies and also to understand the brain. We don't fully understand what is going on inside the brain. So these are some of the proofs of some people or some labs and universities. You can see here some of the pros are tip pros, like in this case the Medical Huntington Institute or Caltech University, the Utah probes, and this is the Michigan approved that are mainly side electrodes or body electrodes. Everyone has advantage and disadvantage. For instance, the tip electrodes initially are bad because the surface is too large, but then after encapsulation, they reduce the area and then increase the impedance, so the resolution, and the opposite happen with body electrodes. Then the fundamental requirement for any prosthesis or for any system to interact with the brain, with the nervous system, first we know that must have electrodes that penetrate into the cortical surface, because we know this is from Cajal. There is several layers in the brain, and we know that the information to the brain usually goes to layer 4, that is a thickness in human about 1.5 to 2 millimeters. So we need electrodes that come to this part, should be able to stimulate three-dimensional set of neurons, and one important aspect is long-term stability with minimum tissue damage and minimum encapsulation, should be able to get to listen to the neurons close by, to listen to discriminate action potentials, and ideally at least to have a bidirectional communication with the system. This implies, of course, some problems related with electrode size. If it is too small, it mix some neurons close by. If it is too large, we will get